Back on the show, I am John Germain. However you're watching us from, always remember, you can always watch the full episodes on YouTube. Also airs on Sky TV in the UK, Max 24 in Ghana, XYZ TV, 247 TV as well, all in Ghana. Let's get the show on the road. We have a massive interview coming. Hang in there. Nice. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. This is I Am John Germain. On this show, on this feature, we get to talk and introduce an exciting part of the show. Today, we get to interview and talk to people who are responsible for telling history, stories through the eye of a camera lens. People who do all the work at your amazing events and people who tell an amazing story from a single snap. Who are we talking about? We have an amazing feature on photography. Now, I've got two gentlemen. One I've known for probably almost 11 years, done a lot of work with. The other I've known for probably 3 years. These guys tell amazing stories through the magic of cameras. And today, we get to dig into their story. We get to dig into the story of photography itself right here on the show. For two gentlemen, Josh Sisily and Sage the photographer. Did I get your name right?
Yeah, you did.
Good. I always need to make sure I get your name right. How are you guys doing?
Good. I'm good.
Great. Now, the very first question I want us to dig into is, how did photography become your story or a career for you? I'm going to start with you because you've been doing it for much longer.
Yeah. So for me, I think it started off as a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a photography enthusiast.
Okay.
Although he never did photography as a profession, he loved to just take some photographs of family and then friends and then locations and stuff. And I think also after few years and then also going to school, I sort of found photography through education because I did commercial arts in school.
Mm-hmm.
And one part of our courses was photography. So I think it was just more like a wake-up call. It came to me subconsciously, you know, and I think, yeah, that's how it started for me.
Sage, how about you?
All right, so with me, photography wasn't like a passion. It wasn't something that I really wanted to do, but I offered graphic designing in school.
Okay.
Photography was a sub-course. So that was when I started growing the passion for it. Yeah.
Now, you've been doing it for much longer. Now, how has photography evolved? Now, you mentioned someone in your family had an interest, so which means you know more about the history of how, I mean, back in the day when we were young, taking a picture is like a whole documentary.
Yeah,
You go to the studio, they take a picture, they give you a few days to develop the picture, and then it comes back and it doesn't even look like you. So,
Yeah.
how from the time you saw photography, from the time you started photography, and now let's talk about evolution. What has changed? What is different now?
I think a lot has changed. Looking back at how I started, well, I started with nothing, and also the whole idea of photography was just an interesting thing to do. Now I feel like people are more getting interested in it for some various reasons, but then still it's still art, you know. First, we didn't even classify photography as art. It was just taking pictures of people, but I feel like it's more like a documentation.
Mhm.
So if you are privileged to be behind the camera to just do that, it's actually a big deal, you know. Yeah. So photography has changed in a lot ways. I think when I started, it was more about beauty photography and fashion photography. Now it's growing into a lot of things: fashion, beauty, events, weddings, what have you, like corporate stuff. You can just do a lot with photography. So yeah, it has changed a lot.
Okay, would you say it's gotten easier so much so that almost every person can decide to be a photographer? Because these days you have tools that can aid you to have an amazing picture. I mean, a few years back, it wasn't the case. If you are not that good, the picture won't be good. But now you can be okay, but with the aid of new tools, you can put out a very professional picture. Would you agree with me?
Yeah, I do agree with you. First, we're shooting with analog. Now we have um, digital. So the world is changing. A lot is in. We have YouTube. People can go there and learn photography. Can also learn from someone. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get get personal. Which area do you specialize in? I've seen you do fashion photography. I've seen you did a photo shoot for one of my album
Yeah.
covers. Which area excites you, and which area have you grown to be a specialist in?
Yeah. I think for me, I started off as a beauty photographer. I think the whole human face thing really excites me. I like to take pictures of human faces, and then I dived into fashion a little bit because I like the idea of putting clothes on and then just looking dope and taking some pictures. So I would say people know me to be a fashion and a beauty photographer, which I'm more into like portraits and then also editorial stuff. So yeah, now I have changed my trajectory. It's just because I had a wake up call a few years back, and I think it's still the same thing. But
What gave
then
you the wake up call?
I think it's just because I lost someone dear to me,
Wow.
and I felt it was just a moment that we were sitting at home, and he asked me to take pictures of him. That was my big brother. He asked me to take pictures of him, and I felt like I never took pictures of my family. I never did anything of that sort, and just for me to just point the camera at him, looking at what he was going through, taking pictures of him, just through my own lens. I think it felt a bit weird, and I had to just go back, sit down and think about the kind of pictures that I took of him in his most vulnerable state, right? And it gave me some sort of epiphany that photography is more than what I used to do. Photography is more than what I used to think or what I used to feel or how I used to see it. So I went back just to recover from what happened to me, and then also how I felt, and then see if I could see it in a different light. And I think, yeah, it changed my trajectory. It changed the whole scene. And I'm doing the same thing now, but then it's not more like back then. Back then it was more commercial. So you book me, I come, take pictures, and then I'm good to go. But now it's more storytelling for me. Now it's more the essence of humanity for me. It's more of being present for me in a way, yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. Now, there's one question that I always found interesting because someone hires you to do a photo shoot for an individual or a product. Now, how do you pick an inspiration to be able to tell the story that the client or the individual has in their minds for the product or the individual? How do you create a scene? How do you create a story? Where do you pick inspiration from to be able to get that picture you need?
So let's say when the clients come to me and talk to me about a shoot, I have this rapport with them, so they feel comfortable with me.
Mm.
So I ask them what they really want and ask what they are shooting. I research about whatever I'm shooting. If it's going to be a location, I'll scout a location and yeah, and get the right equipment for it.
How do you?
I actually have a very interesting process of just creating images. I think it's just the way I see fit, right? So we all know about mood boards. We create more like a vision board for whatever that we want to create for the client. But for me, I think I just, when you call me for a photo shoot, back then it was just more like, hey, how many images do you want? Or I have this package, da 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 da. But now it has a bit of attachment to me more than just creating images. So I go in just to ask you what you're going to use it for, the purpose of the shoot, why are you even doing this shoot in the first place, which medium or media outlets it will just be on, and then also I have to get all those kind of information, think about the story behind the whole photo shoot. I think one problem that we do have, or I face with clients lately here, is some people don't even know what they want. Some people just want to take pictures because like they've seen people take pictures, and I think it's also okay. But your idea of taking pictures should be much more deeper than just taking pictures. We can all create memories, but then look at it from a deeper angle, and that will help me to create something that you also would want or would just suit your own stuff. So yeah, I create a mood board, go through the whole process. If I need to scout for a location, just as he said, we go scout for locations. We tell a particular story with the outfits. Everything has to coordinate. Back then it was just, okay, you know what, I have this, I have that. And then when they pop up, they show up with whatever that they have. But now you have to go through styling, you have to go through makeup and hair, you have to go through locations, whether studio or locations, whatever. Dig deeper into this, and then you just get your image.
Okay, so what do you do if I'm going to create a scenario for what do you do if a big client hires you for a huge project? So you go through the storyboards, creating concepts, getting the best makeup artists, getting the best people to do the costumes, getting the best locations for it, making sure you are at your maximum best. And then after the shoot, you don't like it. And the client also possibly doesn't like it. What do you do? Have you ever had a situation like that?
Yes, well, I'll start. I've had a situation like that. But I think it's more so not about the client didn't like it. I think it's just all about personality and then how you build your personality around the people that you work with. I've had that incident before. I don't know what to do, but I think one time I proposed if we could reshoot, and they didn't like the idea because you have to bring everyone back on board. However, it wasn't really a big shoot for us to just go through this, and I think that also gave me that wake up call to go deep into looking at the essence of your shoot before we even start the whole thing. So I'm not going to click because you just called me and then let's just do it. If not, I would have to just leave it to you and be like, hey, you know what? We had this discussion, so this was going to happen. So here we go. We have it. But then we don't want that. So we just go deeper into just creating something.
You ever had that?
Yeah, I've also experienced such. Let me see. Yeah. So what I do is I'll explain to the client. Sometimes the client don't know. They don't have that how do I put it?
Idea?
Yeah, that idea, artistic idea. So we need to explain to them to understand certain components, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are times that you take a photo, you have an image, and you tell yourself, nah. And then the client sees it and goes like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
satisfying.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, well, it worked both ways.
Yeah.
What I noticed with my photographs, and I get the other way around a lot. But then someone told me when I traveled, someone told me, hey, you have to look at your photography from a different perspective, because your photography grow on people. They don't just stick, they just grow. So sometimes you can take a picture now and then people might not even like it.
Yeah.
And within few years or probably few months, everyone is just jumping on.
Just loving it.
And I think it's just all about the story or the whole narrative, how people see it. And art sometimes works in those ways. You might not like it now, but then you will like it later.
Later, yes.
So yeah, I think it's just more deeper when you are creating images with people.
I'm going to borrow your words, how people see it. How do you think Ghanaians see photography? I'm going to start with you.
My problem, most of them don't understand the craft. They don't get it, especially in this part of our world. They look down upon us. And I think the most talented photographers out there. Yeah.
Well, I've had so many people call me and be like, hey, I don't like the way this client spoke to me, that client spoke to me, or anyway. I think it's just a two-way street. You have to just do your bit, and then the client will also do their bit. People will always find a loophole to disrespect you in a way, or to just find a loophole to have something said about you in a particular way. So I would say it's a two-way street. You just need to know how you present yourself and what you do, and then you will actually be fine. I believe.
How people see you? How do you think Ghanaians see photography?
Yeah, I think, you know what? I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. I'll tell you this. I believe people tell me they are growing through art. Like, we now understand what art is about. We now understand what photography and then all these things are about. I think we still do not understand it. I think we have a long way to go. And before we talk about client and before we talk about any other thing, let's talk about the craft, right? Before someone books you, make sure you present something that is worth having. And I think it goes beyond just clicking. And that's why we have people who don't have jobs, excuse me to say, and they are into photography. It's not bad, right? If you don't have any job and then you find interesting photography, it's not bad. It's not something that is terrible, but then you have to just look at it from a broader perspective. And then also you have to dig deeper. With photography, you have to dig deeper. So I would say we really don't understand what photography is about. We really don't understand what art is about. However, we like to believe that we are growing into it. I see growth and then also in bits, but then I think as a collective, we can just come together and then make something bigger. We can just take a big step, because the people that I follow and then the people that I look up to, when I look at images of 1960s, 1970s, we are not even close to creating those images, right? And I'm not talking about even here in Ghana. I'm talking about the world at large, right? We are not even close. And we are in 2024, and we can't even create something of 2009 or probably 1950s or 1970s. And that is really sad. It saddens my heart, and it makes me feel like, what are we really doing? You know? Yeah, so I think with time, we will just grow into this.
Okay. I'm going to come back to time. That's going to be one of my last questions, but I need you to introduce your reel, which will have a collection of some of the amazing images you've taken to the camera, and after I want you to do the same as well, so we can share with the people. So I'm going to start with you.
I'm just Sisily, and I'm a portrait photographer. And these are some of the images that I've taken. I think I'm more into black and white now, and I take people and their emotions. I just deal with documentary and then also documenting the passage of time in a way. So yeah, I hope you just like it and enjoy.
Hi, I'm Sage. I'm a portrait photographer and a commercial photographer. And these are some of my works. I've worked with Jack Dorsey, the former CEO of Twitter. I've also worked with John Germain himself, Jay Foley, Amaya Deborah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So back to the question that I wanted us to delve into too much, because in the beginning I spoke about the evolution of photography, what it was, what it's become now. Now I go back to talk about the fact that there are so many new tools that can get you to take an image with my phone and edit it to look so good it will look as though a professional took it. Now there's AI popping up. What do you see the future of photography becoming like? Because now I can just go on online and type on AI and say, I need an image of John Germain wearing a suit, and there you go.
Yeah.
So what do you think the future is?
Yeah, I've been battling with this for some time now. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't really affect anything, and sometimes I feel like it does, because it sort of takes the whole process out of you, and then it gives you your own results. And reason why I just fall under it doesn't really affect anything, I think we just need to understand who we are and then what we do. Machines can do a lot, and we are even using machines in a way, right?
Yes, yes.
They can actually do a lot, but then there's something about being behind the camera and then taking pictures of someone, the emotions that evokes, the memory that you keep. AI cannot tell you the memory that
No,
they
yeah.
kept of someone. You're just giving it a prompt. So what it does is it produces whatever that you have. I think photography, and I love to just define photography in this way. Photography is a way to say, I was here and you were also here, right? So how do we even enjoy the passage of time? How do we document the whole process? It's not about the final pictures. It's about the story behind it. It's about the history we create. So I would say, yes, it's destroying the market, and artists need to understand that this is the age where AI is useful. We can also use it.
Use it, yes.
But then if you don't use it well, it might not work for you. If you use it well, it will still work for you. But I still believe in the old ways.
Yeah.
I love to just be behind the camera and then just take pictures.
What's your favorite tool? Which camera or lens is your favorite? Anytime you want to take a picture, is there a go-to lens or a go-to camera? I want to start with you.
My favorite lens.
Yes.
Because I'm a portrait photographer, I mostly use wide lenses, not that wide. Yeah.
How about you?
I would say 24-70 Canon. Well, Canon is what I use. So, and I'm not really a gear person. I love to just stick with whatever I have. So, I don't like to just dig deep into what others have. I do love 24-70. 70 gives you much more closer range. 24 gives you a wider range. So I can just use it anyhow that I want to. So yeah.
Name one person, given opportunity, you would love to take photos of. Anybody at all.
Living, right?
Living, yes.
Living. I would say Mario Testino. Yeah, he's a photographer. He's a Peruvian photographer. I would say Mario Testino. And dead, I would have said two people. Probably I would have giving back what my dad gave back to me. So I would have loved to take pictures
Nice.
of him
Nice.
as well, and then also probably Richard Avedon. So yeah, one of my favorite photographers as well.
Nice, nice. How about you?
So with me, Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Nice. That would be a good photo. Listen, guys, thank you very much. If there's anybody you want to mention in photography who was inspired you, Ghanaian, non-Ghanaian, can mention the names. Go ahead. So this is totally dedicated to anybody who's had a
Definitely.
massive impact in photography in Ghana and beyond.
Yeah. Well, I just said it. Mario Testino, Richard Avedon, Evan Penn. I think my dad gave me a perspective subconsciously, so I would still give him the credit for it. And yeah, that is basically it.
Okay, you?
So with me, Prince Mason. He's from Nigeria.
Okay,
And Ghana here, Sisily himself.
okay. Nice.
Joey Dash. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, you guys, for finding time to come talk to us.
Thank you.
It has been on the show. I am John Germain. It's a feature on the people who tell all the stories and all the people who tell history. Stay on. We'll be right back. Well, I trust you enjoyed yourself. This is the show. We'll be back next week with some more. I'm going.